This is the moment. This is the hour. Heads are open, releasing their power. Visions are rising. Dreams come alive. The Spirit is speaking. It's prophetic time. Oh, it's prophetic time. The trumpet is sounding. The voice of the Spirit is shaking the ground. Destiny's calling, the kingdom is shining. We move by the word, it's prophetic time. Shines in the heavens, signs in the earth. A new generation awaken to birth. Destiny's calling, the kingdom is shining. We move by the word. It's prophetic time. It's prophetic time. The trumpet is sounding. The voice of the Spirit is shaking the ground. Destiny's calling. The kingdom is shining. We move by the word. It's prophetic time. Prophetic time. Dreamers rise. The future is now. Seers proclaim the word and the sound. Whoa, watchmen cry out. His glory we find. This is the moment. Prophetic time. This is the moment. Prophetic time. This is the hour. Prophetic time. Dreams is the moment. Prophetic time. This is the hour. Prophetic time.
Well, hello, good night, everybody, and welcome to Prophetic Time. I saw that my broadcast was on mute there for a minute, so I immediately stopped. All right, so good to see you all on here tonight. Welcome. Let's see who came on first, second, and third. We've got Yvette, who came on first on Facebook. Welcome, Yvette. Blessings to you. Welcome, Adela, who came on second. Hey, Adela, blessings. Good to see you on here. And then third is Jer. Good to see you, Jer. Blessings to you. And then over on YouTube, we've got Shannon. Welcome, Shannon. Blessings to you. And then we've got Jenny. Good to see you, Jenny. Blessings to you. And anybody else over there over on YouTube? Good to see you guys over there on YouTube as well. Love you with the blessings and the grace of God. So tonight, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that's happening in our world. As you know, it's prophetic time, so I like to just talk a little bit about what's happening around the world. And I've got a couple of videos that I wanted to show you guys tonight. Now, one of these videos that I wanted to just dive right in with, you will see who is now our Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. And in 2015, I have footage of Marco Rubio, which has just been resurfacing. And he called, he was talking about Iran's playbook from 11 years ago. And so I want you guys to just take a look at this 3-minute video. And it's going to go into some detail. And, I would say, just like the video says, this is one of the most impressive things in modern history. So I want you to look at the video and then put in the comments what you think. All right.
I do want to be recorded for history's purposes before I know what is going to happen in regards to this if it goes through. Iran will immediately use the money that it's receiving in sanctions relief to begin to build up its conventional capabilities. It will establish the most dominant military power in the region outside of the United States, and it will raise the price of us operating in the region. They're going to build anti-access capabilities, rockets capable of destroying our aircraft carriers and ships. Continue to build these swift boats that are able to come on us, these fast boats that are able to swarm our naval assets. And they'll make it harder and harder for U.S. troops to be in the region. They'll also work with other terrorist groups in the region to target American servicemen and women. And they may or may not deny that they're involved, but they will target us and raise the price of our presence in the Middle East until they hope to completely pull us out of that region. They'll also continue to build long-range missiles, missiles capable of reaching the United States. Those are not affected by this deal, and they'll continue to build them as they've been doing. And then at some point in the near future, when the time is right, they will build a nuclear weapon. And they will do so because at that point they will know that they have become immune, that we will no longer be able to strike their nuclear program because the price of doing so will be too high. This is not just a work of imagination. It exists in the world today. It's called North Korea, where a lunatic possesses dozens of nuclear weapons and a long-range rocket that can already reach the United States. And we cannot do anything about it. An attack on North Korea today would result in an attack on Tokyo, or Seoul, or Guam, or Hawaii, or California. And so the world must now live with a lunatic in possession of nuclear weapons. And this is the goal Iran has as well, to reach a point where they become immune to any sort of credible military threat because the price of a military strike would be too high. And then they become an established nuclear weapons power. And never in the history of the world has such a regime ever possessed weapons so capable of destruction. Iran is led by a supreme leader who is a radical Shia cleric with an apocalyptic vision of the future. He is not a traditional geopolitical actor who makes decisions on the basis of borders or simply history or because of ambitions. He has an religious apocalyptic vision of the future, one that calls for triggering a conflict between the non-Muslim world and the Muslim world, one that he feels especially obligated to trigger. And he's going to possess nuclear weapons. This is the world that we are on the verge of leaving our children to inherit. And perhaps we ourselves will have to share in it. And so I want to be recorded for history's purposes, if nothing else, to say that those of us who opposed this deal understood where it would lead. And we are making a terrible mistake.
Well, there you have it, folks. Marco Rubio just going through basically the reasons why we should not be doing what we're doing today. and why we should not have given them money back during the Obama administration. You all remember that they gave Iran billions of dollars to basically get some nuclear weapons and get weapons of mass destruction back then. And so that's where we are today. So here's the thing about Iran. Iran actually supplies China with certain materials that they need, and China is very upset right now about this war because they deem it a threat to their national security. Because Iran produces certain materials, natural materials, that they need, and in order to exist as a nation and to produce and to export and etc. So they deem it as a national security threat. You know, we are, as the United States of America, we are definitely threading on some grounds that and making some decisions that we're not in the right mindset or mind frame to make. I think that there's a lot of emotions running wild in our current government. And like I said months ago, that we're going to war. And why did I say we're going to war? And it's basically because of the Epstein files. That's basically it. Okay. And I don't think anybody could really change my mind, because I called this months ago. I said that we are somehow going to war at the time when we weren't talking about going to war. And then all of a sudden we're going to war. We're at war. So anyway, here's another video I wanted to play for you guys from Thomas Massie, who is a senator from Kentucky, and has been making a lot of noise, and he was definitely a pro Trump guy. But then when things started to go sideways with a lot of decisions that were being made, Thomas Massie just, he's like, I can't follow this. I can't, I can't vote for certain things that are not in alignment with MAGA. Imagine that. He's voting for MAGA, but he won't vote against MAGA, and MAGA is making policies that is against MAGA. What is MAGA? In essence, it's America First. And so Thomas Massie is an America First guy, and so is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is America First, and I think people have a hard time, deciphering what America First is, and they think America First is follow Trump to death. That's basically what some people believe, is that we should follow the leadership of President Trump and every decision that he makes to the death, to the fault. And I don't do that. I don't subscribe to the blind leading the blind. If I believe that he's blind in a certain situation, or he's making a decision that is not favorable of the people, and I could clearly see it, I am not going to stand behind him and says, yes, go Trump, go Trump. I am not that guy. I'm not that guy. God made me different. And I'm telling you that a lot of the things that decisions that were made with pertaining to these to these wars is not good. It's not good for any of us. It's not good for our children. It's not good for our nation. In fact, it's going to make us look really bad in a short period of time. Check this out.
This administration can't even give us a straight answer as to why we launched this preemptive war. The president says we had to strike first because an Iranian strike was imminent. Meanwhile, the Department of Defense conceded there was no evidence of an imminent Iranian strike. Some told us this war was about nuclear weapons, but 6 months ago, we were assured our last strike on Iran decimated their nuclear program. So which is it? I think the most candid answer came from the Secretary of State, who told the press that Israel forced our hand and dragged us into this war again. And that truth is the very reason why it is Congress that must decide war. If American lives are to be risked and American blood is to be shed, that decision must be debated and voted on by the representatives of the American people. And that debate is meant to be arduous. And that vote is meant to be hard. I have a theory. I think my colleagues don't want to go on record because we have a terrible track record of meddling in the Middle East. They don't want their name associated with this when it doesn't turn out well. But Congress cannot be bothered with its constitutional duty because for many in this chamber, it's easier to simply allow someone else's sons and daughters to be sent to combat without their vote. And to be clear, we aren't even here to declare war today. All we're voting on is a war powers resolution to reassert the Constitution, that Congress must decide questions of war. And if Congress wants war, then the Speaker should hold a vote to declare it.
Amazing. Amazing. We went to war, but we can't get answers as to what's going on. Why are we at war? Why did we choose to do this thing? Why did we choose to go hard at war? This is just insane. Sorry about that. I forgot to close my door there, and there's a lot of noise in the background. So anyway, so Thomas Massey, here it is. He wants answers, and he's not going to get the answers because we don't really have a legit reason for going to war. I don't know if you all remember. Thomas Massey said, "Yeah, I remember this a few months ago, where there were some bombings in Iran, right? Just went ahead and." President Trump went ahead and he allegedly destroyed a nuclear facility in Iran, and that was basically supposed to be the end of the war with Iran. And so they said, "Well, that's the nuclear facility. We bombed it, and that's over with now. Now we can move on." Apparently, there's 10 other nuclear facilities, I guess we got to bomb. Folks, which one is it? You see, the thing is, we have to understand. You cannot follow man. Okay? Man will always let you down. This is why in this season I'm telling you emphatically, turn your eyes on Jesus. Turn your eyes on Jesus, because these politicians will never satisfy you. They will never satisfy you. They will never do what you want. They will never do what you are hoping for them to do. Turn your eyes on Jesus. There's no savior coming for you in politics. Politicians are not saviors. Okay? I'm gonna prove it to you in just one video here. How much of a savior these politicians, or not, they are.
Crazy breaking news. Kristi Noem gave $143 million of taxpayer money to a company that did not exist until 8 days before she gave it to them. And she doesn't even know the address of this company.
Where is Safe America Media headquartered?
I don't know.
I don't know either, Madam Secretary. We can't find it. We can't find a website. We did find an address that's registered for this company. Do you know where that address is?
Is there a problem with this contract?
Yes, it's a complete waste of money, but here's the address of the company that got $143 million. Now, don't you think a company that makes shitty commercials would have an office? In August alone, they took in $80 million.
Has it ever done work for the government before?
I don't know. I can't.
The answer is it has not. And do you know why we know that? Because it was incorporated 8 days before this contract went out.
By the way, none of this money was spent to keep America safer. This was spent on TV ads. And they were able to skip the bidding process because they said this was a national emergency. How convenient is that? And to help you put this in perspective, $220 million is what it costs to make the Avengers movie. I'm guessing most of this money is going to help someone have a really good retirement. And you and I are paying for it.
Kristi Noem basically gives away $220 million, allegedly back to herself somehow through a co-worker's husband, somebody within her office. Their husband was the beneficiary receiving that funds to distribute it for, I guess, a DHS contract for commercials. And see, because of this scandal that just took place, and the company just opened 8 days prior, this sounds kind of like stuff that Democrats were doing. And it's ridiculous. The Democrats were doing the exact same madness. And now what has happened is that Kristi Noem was swiftly removed as the chief of the DHS. I don't know if y'all saw that, but she was swiftly removed, and they placed her in another position over there somewhere, some type of a security position within the administration. But they swiftly moved her because she was involved in some other scandals with regards to buying 737 planes, and one of them had a bedroom in it, and then she was accused with, allegedly of sleeping with one of her staff members, and it's there's a lot of insanity going on right now, folks. And this is one of the things. Today I had a really great conference with some folks from Dubai. I was invited by one of my friends to speak to a group of pastors, online, that's sitting in Dubai right now. And I was talking to them about, conviction. And that was the message I was really delivering to them today. And as I was discussing these things to the pastors, and I was talking about stressing about, how when we are in leadership, we ought to do what is right before the eyes of the Lord, not just when people are looking, but behind closed doors when nobody's looking. We must carry that integrity everywhere that we go. And here it is, the government in under President Trump now is getting caught with all kinds of scandals. And why is it? One of the things I mentioned today to the pastors is that pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. We've got to be careful of pride. And a lot of Americans, unfortunately, who voted for President Trump, who rooted for him through MAGA, which I did. I voted, I rooted for him. I was like, yes, let's do this, because he's all about make America great again and America first. I've been invited to numerous America First Policy Institute meetings, and many Charlie Kirk events for pastors, and I've been to the White House. So the thing is, yes, I was pro-Trump all the way, but because of the type of person that I am, and I love the truth, I love to stand for righteousness and holiness and godliness. There's certain things that I cannot agree with, regardless of who it is. I cannot agree with it. I just can't. And so, when I see stuff like this where Kristi Noem, her organization, the DHS, which she ran over the last year, is handing out $220 million to a company that was just started 8 days prior, and had no, like a house address, and no website. Come on, that reeks of some type of a scam. It reeks of it badly. It reeks of people that are just stuffing their pockets with taxpayer money. That's what it sounds like. And what I'm seeing is there's too much bleedage of money that is going out the door, and the American people are not being taken care of. Imagine this, that there are people that are worried about their Social Security, right? And we're over in Iran, throwing down, $25 million bombs like there's no tomorrow. In the first 2 days, it was said that it was about $9 billion in 2 days. $9 billion of bombs were destroyed. 9 billion in 2 days. Do you know what $9 billion could do for Americans? Do you know how much money, how many Americans could, do better even with their health, with the billions of dollars that they're wasting right now on all these different things that they're doing? Like handing out hundreds of $1 million to Christy Noem's fake business. Like, you know how much good that they could do with that $220 million that just went out the door to this fake business? It's insane. There's no way that we should condone any of this stuff. As Americans, we should be angry about that. And stop being comfortable about, like some people just, you've got to realize, folks, that you got to turn your eyes on Jesus. He is our Lord and He is our Savior. There's no man in the government right now that could save you. None. In fact, they're not even thinking about you, and they're proving it in their actions. It's not even America first. I'm going to show you this next video. This is shocking because this is Tulsi Gabbard. This is very shocking.
That's exactly what Trump did. He conducted and committed an act of war without congressional authority, seriously escalating the situation with Iran. And so now we're at a point of it's not a matter of, well, are we going to have a war with Iran? We are in a war with Iran right now. So the real issue is, are we going to allow this war to continue to escalate? And if so, for how long? And to achieve what objective?
Even Tulsi Gabbard is. What are we doing? Why did we go to war? What is this about? Why do we have our children being killed overseas for what? For what? What is the purpose of this? Who is this benefiting? Is it benefiting Americans? And if it's not benefiting us, why are we there? Come on. What is this about? I find that Americans get duped a whole lot about a lot of things, and they don't even realize. They can't even see. Most Americans can't even see when they're getting duped. It's just they're being lied to, and they can't see the lies. When you run on a platform that says "Make America Great Again" and America First, that should be what you do. That should be what you do. I'm really sad, man. I'm really sad to see what's happening in our country. I'm really sad. And the sad part is that people are still out there talking about how, oh, it's 5G chess. There's no 5D chess, people. There's no 5D chess. It is what it is. If there was some type of 5D chess, I would tell you about it. But there's no 5D chess. It is what it is. What you see is what you get. There are some things that are happening that are, a little odd and weird and secretive, but I'm telling you that there's a lot of things that you see is what you get. Okay? Yeah, there's actors. Yes, there are. But a lot of what you see is what you get. And by the way, as I was talking with the pastors today in Dubai, I was asking them, so what does Dubai look like right now? Are you guys experiencing a lot of, bombs? from Iran, or did y'all experience anything like that? They said, oh, no, just a couple incidents that happened in Dubai, but it was nothing big. It was just a couple isolated incidents, really. And so even the news stories that you get, or the stuff that you get on social media from people, some of the videos that you see are AI technology, right? A lot of it, like, so people are saying that Iran bombed Dubai. Well, when they show you the video, you got to be careful, because a lot of it is AI technology. Because I spoke to people that live in Dubai today, pastors, numerous pastors, and they all said, "Yeah, no, it's fine here. Everybody's going to work. Everybody's living, going about their business on a daily, regular basis. So everything's normal." But there was some real bombings in Iran. There was, and God alone knows why. I don't know why, but if anybody on here knows why, you tell me why. But there's people in government that don't know why, right? Like Tulsi Gabbard, like our friend, what's his name here, Thomas Massey. He doesn't know why, and there are many others that don't know why we went to war. If just a few months back, we bombed Iran's nuclear facility. Okay, guys. Anyway, enough of that. Enough of that. It's okay. It's enough of that. All right. So here's some reports here. There's one that says U.S. nuclear weapons testing facilities rattled by more than 100 mysterious earthquakes, and this happened in Nevada. I don't know if y'all knew about that. And then there's another one says second largest earthquake in state history shakes North Louisiana at 5:30 a.m. This morning. Residents of North Louisiana reported their homes were shaking. Major earthquake shakes residents awake. It awakened them this morning. Then there was over 100 firefighters battle large warehouse fire in Miami Gardens today. And it was a warehouse where there was fertilizer storage. Now, some of you probably don't know this, but a lot of the fertilizer for farmers globally comes down through the Strait of Hormuz. And apparently the Strait of Hormuz is being blocked off and disrupted by Iran, because Iran, their method of war might not necessarily be trying to bomb the whole world, but by blocking the Strait of Hormuz, it could literally shut down the food supply globally, because of a lot of the fertilizer that farmers use actually comes down through the the Strait of Hormuz. And I just learned this today. I didn't know that, but apparently a lot of countries, that's where they get their fertilizer from. So, all right, is the feed still cutting out? Is it cutting in and out? Let me tell you something. What happens? Okay, here's what happens, folks. Is that anytime you talk about certain things on Facebook, they cut it out so that people will stop listening, right? But if you go back in after the video has been recorded onto Facebook or on YouTube, you'll be able to see it without any issues whatsoever, and you'll realize that there was no cutting out at all, and that's what they do. It's just a strategy. So Cynthia says, are Iranians celebrating? Yes, Iranians are celebrating because they felt like a savior came to save them, right? They felt like President Trump is their savior coming to save them for good reasons. But we're not in Iran to save anybody. There's so many countries, Cynthia, where people need saving from. And we haven't been going there for years. In fact, We started Hillary Clinton. They allegedly started some work in just Haiti, in Haiti years ago, and they didn't follow through with anything. In fact, what I heard was they stole some children from there, and that was the end of that. They didn't really help them. So these Iranians are celebrating because some of the Muslim ayatollahs and all these types of crazy people are being removed or killed, and they're happy about that because they feel oppressed by these people. But this is something that they should do as a nation. The people should have their own revolution in their nation, just like the America did. Back a few hundred years ago when we broke off from the rule of England. This is stuff that their own country should do so that they can have the freedom on their own, by themselves, for themselves, right? This is not the job of America to do. And America isn't doing this for going around to every nation and seeing who's being oppressed and busting there, and we're the good guys here, guys. We're gonna remove your government and we're gonna put somebody good in there. In fact, every government that America has removed and put in place in a nation, it's been terrible. It's been terrible. It hasn't worked out too well. All right. So now in Miami Gardens, over 100 firefighters battled large warehouse fire in Miami Gardens, and it was a fertilizer storage facility. And that is strategic, folks, because if you destroy the fertilizer of any major nation, that means that there's going to be problems with farming that's next season. And God alone knows what's going to happen, my friends. I think that what Iran is doing strategically is that they're hoping for a food storage, shortage, a food shortage. And there are facilities, like I mentioned, I think I mentioned it yesterday, but there are facilities in some of those countries like Dubai and Saudi Arabia, all along within the Middle East. They get their water from the ocean, right? And so they have machinery that does like a desalting process. And all Iran has to do is just bomb their facilities, their water facilities, and they will literally only have 2 weeks. They will literally only have 2 weeks before they literally have to leave that place. They have to leave those countries because they'll be out of water. Just 2 weeks. 2 weeks. That's it. So this is what we're dealing with when we decide to go to war. We're putting a lot of people at risk, a lot of lives at risk. And where do you think a lot of these people are going to go? They're going to bombard Europe. They're going to come to the United States of America. They're not going to stay there because they can't. And so, folks, we have to just kind of look at things more objectively and not think that all of the information that we're getting is just straightforward. There's too many layers to all of this stuff. And so, ask God for discernment in this season. Ask Him for discernment. And remember that there's a lot of podcasters out there that are really, leaning in either one particular way or the other. And many of them are not just leaning on Jesus Christ. So be careful who you listen to as well, because they might be leaning on one way or the other for one reason or the other, and many times has nothing to do with the truth. It has nothing to do with Jesus Christ. So be very mindful of that, of who you listen to. All right? Because the next thing you're leaning on one way or the other, and you're leaning far away from Jesus Christ. And then you have to wake up one day and find, well, how did I get over here? My God. I was just in the boat and the boat drifted. I had my head down the whole time, and I didn't even realize the boat drifted 10 miles away from where I was. That literally happened to me while I was out on the lake. You put your head down for a little bit, and that boat will just drift and drift and drift. Before you know it, you're nowhere close to where you were before. So be careful out there. Be careful out there what you listen to, what you put into your soul. Just really focus on Jesus in this season. He is going to be our Savior. No political party is coming to save you, my friends. No political party is going to save you. Look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was a woman of conviction. She is one of those people that I actually loved when the whole MAGA movement was popping, the America First. She was one of the loudest voices for America First. I mean, she just shouted it everything out to the rooftops. She didn't care who was opposing her. I was like, wow, Marjorie Taylor Greene, man, let's go. And then all of a sudden, they started to demonize her because she started to ask some questions. She started to see some things that wasn't adding up. And she was like, no, I'm not going to bow. I'm not going to bend. No, we ran on these Epstein files being released. We should release it. No, I don't. She doesn't believe in any form of abortion. Or what was one of the things I saw today? That giving parents the ability to sign for their children to become transgenders or to do transgender surgeries. It's okay if their parents sign for them if they're underage. She was like, no, I'm not for that. She's like, and this is what actually came out today. And this is a part of our current administration. They said, yeah, it's okay for parents to sign for their children to have transgender surgeries. That's what came out today. And I'm not for that. Marjorie Taylor Greene's like, what is this? I'm not for that. I'm not for any transgender surgeries. For children under the age of 18. It's madness. Shouldn't even give the power to a parent to be able to do that. That's madness. You're setting that kid up for suicide in their future. Because sometimes they change. People change. In 7 years, everybody changes. What happens in 7 years when that kid changes their mind about it? They're like, well, I was just a kid. Why did you let me do this, mommy? Like, I was just a kid. You could have just told me no. But they're damaging children. Many of them don't even have their brain developed enough to even understand what is taking place. And this is under the party that we voted for. This can't be. This can't be. You see, folks, what I'm telling you is that you have to stand for righteousness and holiness and godliness. And it doesn't matter about party lines. It doesn't matter about, I'm a Republican, so I'm just a Republican to the core. I'm just going to follow every policy of the Republican. Well, even if the Republicans are killing babies, you're going to stand for them? I don't think so, folks. That's not how I roll. I don't care. Like, listen, there could be a church that is the best thing since sliced bread. Everybody loves this great big church. They're a mega church, and the pastor is great. But then you find out that the pastor is now ordaining homosexuals. And like, well, the pastor's great. I love him. But I think it's other people that are making the pastor make this decision. No, folks. If he's the leader and he's ordaining homosexuals, it's under his organization. Then it's on him. It's on him. He has to make the stand. He has to say no. Do you understand what I'm saying? We have to stand for righteousness, for holiness, for godliness in this season. And don't care what anybody says. I've always been this way. It's just that some people don't know. I've always been this way. I've always been the person that has strong convictions, and I don't care what anybody else says. People try to, imagine this. A couple days ago, people try to label me as, oh, he's not patriotic. Why? Because I stand up for righteousness, for godliness, for holiness. Give me a break. You know what? I'd rather you call me that and me stand up for righteousness, godliness, and holiness, and for the truth. I don't care if you call me that. After I've been invited to the White House, after I've been to all of these events with Charlie Kirk and all, I'm not patriot. So maybe Charlie Kirk wasn't patriotic because Charlie Kirk started to talk a lot different just a few weeks before he died because he started to see certain patterns and certain truths before they killed him. And when he started talking about it, they knew they had to shut him up. Because he was so powerful. He had millions of young people that were following him, every word that he said. And they knew that if he affected the minds of all of these young people, the next generation of politics was not going to be like what we see today. Wishy-washy, flip-flop, all about the money, bribes, and just foolishness. Going to endless wars for no reason. Look, 9/11. Oh, the Saudi Arabians did it. Let's go to Afghanistan. You can't make this stuff up. The Saudis did it. Let's go to Afghanistan. So they went to Afghanistan. The Saudis did it, but they went to Afghanistan, and then they said, "Well, look over here." When Afghanistan wasn't going too well, look over here, guys. Iraq's got weapons of mass destruction. Let's deal with Iraq now. And so they went into Iraq and they destroyed the country. They killed Saddam Hussein, and then they said, "Oh, look over here, Libya. Let's go into Libya and destroy Libya and remove their president, their king." And they did that too. For what? For what? Please tell me, for what? What did we benefit other than the gold from Iraq? What did we benefit from going into Iraq? What did we benefit from going into Afghanistan? What did we benefit? Listen, if you really want to benefit from anything, go to China. Go to war with China. They're bringing they're shipping fentanyl into our country. Go to war with China. You see, we won't go to war with China, folks. Because China has a lot of weapons and they make big threats. And I think that they would carry out the threats that they made. And I think that our country knows that. So who do we go after? The weaker ones. And we don't have to do that. We don't have to do that. We don't have to go to war. And there's so many people in America that think we have to go to war for some reason. We don't have to go to war. We don't. For what? Why do we have to go? Did anybody point a missile at us and threaten to shoot us the next day? To bomb the country the next day? No. Nobody did that. Iran didn't do that. Even though we bombed Iran, Iran didn't do that. There's no proof of it. Anywhere. Not even China. China said that they will not fire the first shot. That is what Xi Jinping said. He said, we will never fire the first shot. He says, however, if we do get a bomb hitting our country, he says, we will make sure that they do not return another to us. That's what he said. That's what Xi Jinping said. I know somebody's saying look into Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yes, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I believe she did end up being corrupt in the end, because I don't know how you go from what do you call it, a net worth of about just under $1 million to now being worth over $50 million in 4 years. I don't know how you do that, but I think that there's something that happens when people go into politics like that. Absolutely, something happens. You know, absolutely. Many of them get invited into opportunities to make lots and lots of money, and it doesn't always have to be corrupt, but a lot of times it does sure smell like it's corruption. It doesn't always have to be that way, but at the same time, when you follow the money, a lot of people get corrupted in government. It's just how things work. In fact, there's some people that become career politicians because that's because they know there's a lot of money involved. So, and I didn't hang my hat on Marjorie Taylor Greene. I was just telling you that she was one of those voices that were actually speaking the truth. Somebody says, so Cynthia says, so Candace is not crazy? I'll leave that up to you to decide, Cynthia. You can figure that out yourself. If you think Candace is crazy, then you could believe that if you want. If you don't think she's crazy, then that's your belief. But I'm not going to comment anything on Candace Owens. If you guys think she's crazy to you. If you don't think she's not crazy, well, then she's not crazy to you. But you actually have to sit down and listen to her broadcast in order to determine that. That's for sure. If you listen to podcasters who have an opinion one way or the other, I don't think you're getting everything that you need to make the right decision. You have to go straight to the horse's mouth and listen to what she says. And that's how, this is how these games are being played. People are taking little clips from each